What's up everyone, welcome back to LaceUp channel. My name is Mickey. In today's video, I'm going to tell you why you should never ever buy a generic or off-brand ERP system. I'm going to give you 8 reasons why you have to go with one of the big boys, so let's get right into it. Reason number 1, scalability. How scalable is your ERP system? Well, if you're buying an ERP system, the provider should easily be able to reference multiple companies doing hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars in revenue using their system. And I feel like this is so important because most ERP systems that are smaller, they don't have the data structure, they don't have the robust ability to collect and store information, which means that once you hit a certain revenue level with certain numbers of transactions and lines within those transactions, these ERP systems start to get slow. They start to get cumbersome. They need extra maintenance to keep them up and running. So scalability is certainly something you're looking for, and to validate that scalability, you're gonna have to talk to the ERP provider, get case studies, get references, and find people that are where you wanna be. Point number 2, longevity and reliability. How much longevity does that ERP system have in the market? How many years has it been around? Well, in the case of NetSuite or Business Central, they've been around, as their parent companies have, Oracle and Microsoft, for tens of years. They've got a proven track record of never breaking down, of servers never going off, of nothing ever happening. I've got examples of customers who bought a small ERP system from Jimmy. Jimmy was working for the customer, and unfortunately Jimmy passed away, leaving the customer with no support and no ability to use their ERP system. And that's not even the craziest example. Sure, that one's rare. Think about this. You buy a small ERP system for $30,000 that does all these functions, and within 5 years they get acquired. The system gets absorbed into a parent company, and either the parent company wants you to pay a ridiculous fee to get the new upgraded system, or they kill off that product altogether. So make sure you take into account longevity and reliability. Point number 3, third-party integration. The best analogy I have for that is this right here, the iPhone. The iPhone has atop it an app store, and that app store is open to all the developers in the world to be able to program add-ons and new programs that enhance the functionality of this phone. I can tell you unequivocally that smaller ERP systems don't have that ecosystem of developers that are building atop of their software, which means that you're going to be restricted to what functions you can get in the ERP system. Things like NetSuite have the Suite App Store. And on the Suite App Store, you can find an add-on for just about anything from third parties, because those third parties are incentivized to build these add-ons to attract NetSuite customers to use these add-ons. So third-party integration is extremely important. Like, I integrate with the largest ERP systems in the world, and also I've got some smaller players down here, but the truth is, when I'm building out my product, when I'm building out the highest quality integration, I focused on the highest ERP systems. And that's what everyone else will do, which is why I recommend that you guys go with an ERP system that has a huge ecosystem of third-party integrations. Point number 4, training and resources. Documentation. Documentation, guys. Look, all of my customers, at some point they experience turnover, and the person that implemented the system leaves the business. Well, what happens when that person leaves the business and all the standard operating procedures, all of the functions, everything that happens in the ERP system is not documented? Well, when you go with a larger ERP system, they've got every single function in the entirety of the system completely documented, which means that you can go on Google, look up the documentation, read through the documentation, and easily train an incoming employee to take the place of the old employee. Now, with smaller ERP systems, you'll often find that documentation is not that plentiful. It takes effort or even a phone call to reach out to the company themselves to provide the documentation that you need. Not only is that slow, but I guarantee the documentation is not as comprehensive as what you would need to train someone coming off the street to join your team. Point number 5, customization. And this goes hand in hand with third-party integration, but when I say customization, you want ERP systems that have an open API. An API is the connector that allows third-party integrators to connect and build customizations on top of the ERP system. You'll find that smaller ERP systems don't have off-the-shelf APIs. They want to build custom APIs for whatever solution you want them to integrate with. Well, that's not what you want. You want an API that's been thought out and built in a way to support every type of customization and integration. And normally you'll find that ERPs with those APIs have those APIs vastly documented online. And once more, smaller companies that don't have these APIs, they won't have any documentation. They won't be able to show you the connecting points to their data structure to transfer data back and forth. So make sure you look for an ERP system that has an open API so that it can be customized. Point number 6, analytics and reporting. Dude, I think this one is the most common sense point that I can make in this entire video. Normally, larger ERP systems have infinite customization available for their analytics and reporting. They can provide any data point, any KPI that you need to make actionable decisions on your business. Whereas smaller ERP systems oftentimes will have the data structure to support those reports, but they don't have the dashboards and they don't have the reports. So you end up paying the smaller ERP system professional service fees to get them to build out custom things for you. Whereas if you bought something like a NetSuite, like an Acumatica, like a Business Central or equivalent, you would have these reports and these KPIs out of the box and you could configure them themselves. And that goes back to my previous point, which is documentation. Because you're going to have these tools to make your own reports, all of this is documented, which means you could train someone in your company to build these custom reports. Point 7, support. How much support in the world is there for this? The iPhone. There's infinite support. Hundreds of thousands of people know this product, know how to use it, and can help you if you have any questions. That tends to be the case for larger ERP systems. They build networks of consultants, people that are experts in the ERP system that know everything about it. Those people are trained oftentimes for 20 or 30 years to operate within the system, and you can easily change from one consultant to the other or to another advisor and have them be able to give you advice, training, and feedback on the ERP. When the ERP system's small, there is no consulting channel. There aren't thousands of people that have the knowledge on how to use that ERP system, which means you're at the mercy of the company themselves to take your phone call, answer your questions, provide whatever documentation you want, which oftentimes incurs costs. Support is so important. I don't talk about the type of support where you call a support number and somebody helps you fix an issue. That should be inherent in every software company in the world. I talk about wide-ranging support, wide-ranging knowledge. People who have the knowledge and can use that system, just like I and probably you can get on this iPhone right now and know exactly where to go to get whatever I need done. My 8th and final point is compliance, and this is going to apply to those of you that are larger corporations, those of you looking to go public, those of you that need to provide some level of compliance to some entity outside of your business. Well, smaller ERP systems are oftentimes never compliant. They haven't gone through the rigorous process of becoming compliant for their security, their resilience, their redundancy, their virtualization, all of these things that make sure that these companies can never be brought down. All of the larger ERP systems are, for example, SOC compliant, which means you can go on to their website, look at their SOC documentation, and see exactly the rigors and the processes they had to go through to make sure that system would not leak information to anyone outside, to make sure that system won't crash, to make sure that system's always backed up. And I can tell you, when it's a smaller ERP system, oftentimes when these companies like us are smaller, we spend most of our time iterating, building functions, acquiring more customers, and we don't focus as much on compliance, security, resilience, and these things that are necessary for a bigger operation. Now, obviously, over the years, we've become way more cognizant of this, and we've gone into very stringent compliance metrics, and also we started implementing a lot of these things in our business. But I can tell you, if you would have talked to us 5 years ago, we wouldn't have had anything. And that's going to be the case for any smaller ERP system. So again, these are the 8 points that you need to take into account when buying a smaller ERP system. If you take them into account, you're going to come to the simple conclusion that you need to spend a little more money today to get a system that's going to allow you to scale, to be resilient, to have support, to be able to grow and employ more people and have them be nurtured and brought up in the system that you purchased over many, many, many years to come. My recommendation is, if you're going to buy an ERP system, evaluate NetSuite, Business Central, Acumatica, or an equivalent that you know of, a company that has billions and billions and billions of dollars in resources to flow into their ERP product. That's what I recommend. Anyways, guys, if you agreed with that video, go down below, Tell me in the comments if you disagreed as well. I'm cool with that. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care.